right, I'm Dustin Pack. My culminating project is it's kind of a service project, it's kind of a research project, and it's kind of I don't know, it's a little bit of everything in there. It's personal, it's out there. So anyway, I've built an iPhone app and an iPad app. I refused to write a script for today's presentation. I was just telling Michelle that this is automatic presenting. In fact, the only notes I have is on the Hampton Inn thought pad that I picked up this morning. So this presentation is coming from the heart. I hope to harmonize with my fellow Atlantic University students and staff and pretty much show you what I've done. I'm a product of Atlantic University, so what you see is a lot of what you have influenced me to do. Written right on our brochure, we have some of the main concepts of Atlantic University: the mind, body, and spirit, self-actualization, me bringing myself up to my fullest potential, and me being a profound service to others. So this presentation is just a backbone to hold me up while I tell you my thoughts, where I've been, what I've done, what this is, and feel free to laugh, give me a thumbs up, or whatever you want. So the agenda, I'm just going to come out and show you what I've made, the iPhone app, and then we'll back up and I'll work into how I've gone about making it, the road to service, what it is that this iPhone app is living in, our target audience, these digital creatures that's living out there that's so disconnected from nature now. And then I'll get just a little bit into the content of what's in there. Building it as far as programming and publishing it to Apple iTunes. Spiritual Reflections on Nature is the name of the application. This is, in a nutshell, what you'll find in my application. First, it's the perennial philosophy. Imagine it's an app on nature, it's an app on the perennial philosophy, and specifically perennial plants found in nature. So the idea is to tie the perennial philosophy into perennial aspects of nature. Specific incarnations of this in the app, I have 2 reflective exercises, 13 perennial plants, a meditation timer, and a nature journal. These are kind of manifestations of my mental model. So the mental model for perennial philosophy: perennial plants bloom, they grow, they wither. It's their powerful rootstock that keeps them coming back year after year. And our perennial philosophy is the resilient rootstock of the major religions and spiritual practices that survive across all these cycles of time that we're great inheritors of now. I wanted to build an application around the perennial philosophy because it's the most safe thing to talk about. It's not demanding or restrictive, or it's very tolerant of cultures. So this application is available worldwide, and I don't want someone in China picking this up, reading about some specific aspect of Christianity that is in conflict with their local customs. Here's an example of what you'll find in the application. So the dandelion is a perennial plant. Candace was quick to tell me that this is a weed and needs to be destroyed at all costs. If a dandelion is untreated, it can rob nutrients from your garden, from your lawn, and they can spring up everywhere. I relate the dandelion to our apathy in our spiritual life, to these things that whatever pops up that causes us not to fully engage in our spiritual lives. Like weeds, we have to constantly pick at things like apathy, remove that to better serve ourselves. My block of text there at the bottom. In meditation, we may find ourselves with spinning thoughts and distractions that itch on my nose. Well, these are weeds in my meditation session that just need to be picked. More thoughts may come, and we can remove them just as easy, so long as we have patience. Just as easy as removing weeds from the garden. 2 days ago, I was emailing with Ray Mathis, and she was quick to remind me that the dandelion has medicinal values and is not so much a weed to be destroyed at all costs. But that comes into play a little bit later. Here's another one, and I consider the poison ivy my most important plant in the application. Poison ivy, obviously we know what that is. Probably we've all had it. It's a well-known harmful plant. We have a romantic view of nature, that we can go out into nature, it's going to be awesome, we're going to come back the better for the experience. There's nothing bad that goes on out there. But nature is dangerous, and this is one of the dangers. I'm constantly screaming at my boys to stay away from the poison ivy. In the perennial life, we have things like the dark night of the soul. We have illusions that get shattered. We have not so pleasant experiences. So the poison ivy is very important to me in this application. And my disclaimer to any new users, that if you were to use this application and in so doing, your illusions are shattered and you are your reference points are changed, and there could be significant pain in that. I believe our most ready example that we know is, or I can speak to, I think it was Hugh Lynn Casey, when Edgar had just started to open up to all the transcendental things that was coming to him in his sleeping state. And he started to share this with the family, and Hugh Lynn, who was a devout, Christian, we're talking Kentucky boys here, that opening up was very painful for him. So I think that disclaimer needs to be clear and present. And in addition to having poison ivy in the app, my disclaimer is right under the introduction to sort of forewarn, watch out what you're getting into. Here's an example of a reflective exercise. So far I have 2 of them. I'm planning many more. We have the willow tree and the hickory tree. In studying for this application and putting the content, I came across the willow, and we often associate the willow with being the strong, flexible tree. Its strength is derived from its ability to bend in the wind without breaking. The willow tree's roots are shallow and spread far wide. So it grabs nutrients from a wide variety of a wide range of area, I should say. The hickory tree, by comparison, is a very tall tree. Its wood is very hard. The root system of the hickory tree goes down deep into the ground, so it has the ability to reach nutrients that other trees can't. So the perennial connection here is the opposite of a correct statement is a false statement, but the opposite of a profound truth may well be another profound truth. Let's back up just a second to that dandelion. To Candace, this dandelion is a weed, and to Ray, this dandelion is a magical herb that right, good for dandelion tea. This was an extremely valuable lesson, going back to that I'm a product of Atlantic University. To be able to hold two or more different opposing or different thoughts at the same time is such a valuable spiritual lesson. On the personal level, I can connect to this as a soldier, an Army officer. I'm trained to go to war. As a person, I am a deep and passionate pacifist. And holding those two conflicting values at the same time has been something that's it's not always easy to do, but Atlantic University really helps. In the same class I've studied the Enneagram, the human design system, the chakra system. These aren't necessarily conflicting, but they're different, and we can hold them at the same time. We can believe both in a personal God and divine beings that care about us, as well as a system of karma and reincarnation, which is universal laws. We can hold both of these systems at the same time without saying no to one or the other. In the course of making the application, I've placed these plants, which you've seen 2 of them in my reflective exercises. At the end of it, I was happy with it, but the application was information only. So I ended up adding two sections to the application that actually drive home the use of technology. Without the next 2 sections, this is pretty much just a digital book. So first is the meditation timer, which comes with a small instruction on meditating on the breath based off of Jack Kornfield's Beginner's Guide to Meditation that we all took in, yes, I'm trying to think of it, 506. I don't know the new number, 5010. Henry Reed was my instructor there. So here's a picture of the actual application here. You choose the number of minutes that you'd like to meditate. Prepare yourself. Specifically, prepare yourself is in there, not begin meditation, because it's kind of a little reminder to, prepare. It's not just go like it's a stopwatch race. The counter counts, and at the end of it, there's a little piano music to pull you back to reality. So that was a small, easy sort of thing to do. Now, I think one of the central focuses of the application is not so much what I've put in there, but what users can do. And this is the real power behind the application. We have a nature journal where the user can take a picture of whatever they want using the built-in device, and they can add a description to it. And then it's stored on the phone as their spiritual nature journal. So here, again, a couple of screenshots how this happens. They enter a name for whatever it is they're taking a picture of, a description. They press the little camera button there on the top right. It opens up the camera. They take a picture, and then it's placed here in this nice presentation here. They can come back and they can edit this at any time, or they can just delete it altogether. So ladybugs remind me that I need to be nice to everyone. This is my nature journal. Okay, so that's what's in there. Let's back up, and I wanted to get into exactly how this came to be. The road to service. I've been an Atlantic University student for 3 years. These are the courses that I've taken, and I've highlighted a couple. Of course, the big four, which we all take here at the top. I think qualitative research methods, my vocabulary expanded by 500 words or more. That was an excellent class. The Origin and Destiny of Human Consciousness. Ken Wilber and his writings in there was such a phenomenal influence to this, to the content in this application. I did all of the graphics arts myself with Cameron. Cameron was my instructor here at the Introduction to Visual Arts. Michelle was in the class with me, and I actually have written on my awesome script here. This course not only was a great influence to my life, it's the course that I took when I was in Iraq. So when I was having my own dark night of the soul, Atlantic University was right here. Michelle was the only other student in the class with me. I had all of my art plastered up on the walls, and it was my inspiration when I went out and did my thing, and I came back at the end of the day. I had that there. I walked away from that class completely sure that drawing was what I wanted to do in my life. That's it. I'm going to be an artist. I love it. Mythology and symbolism with Ray Mathis was a deep dive into my personal life, which it was looking at the class title and then doing it. It was two different things. I had no idea that I would be writing pages upon pages of my own personal history wrapped in mythology. So I walked away from that class being 100% certain that I wanted to be a writer in my life. And religion, spirituality, and the transpersonal. Studying the different religions. I'd actually taken 3 different religious classes in my undergraduate, which were so much different than what was presented in this course. This really connected home each religion's manifestation of the divine. So my mentors, I can't brag on everybody enough. Henry Reed, in one email, told me how awesome I was, and I can pinpoint to that email that was the point that I started believing that I was awesome, that I am truly awesome. So here's the environment defined, going into where this application is going into in today's world. This is Google Trends, which if you can go to Google Trends, google.com/trends, and you can type in any search term and see how is that search term trending from 2005 to the present. So here's spirituality, trending down. Here is meditation comparatively. That's a pretty big one, and it looks like it's on the rise. I might could point maybe a spiritual low here when we were all in this economic hard time. Dream interpretation. These are all common themes in Atlantic University. This is actually trending upwards. If you would take it away compared to the rest, it would look a little bit more clear. But if you take those three and then compare them to Facebook, they're flat lines, whereas Facebook is this ginormous thing now. This is not meant to make you despair, but this is where it is. All of these: gardening, fishing, camping, hiking, bird watching. It's all trending down. Maybe it's seasonal because nature. Technology is a growing part of our lives, and I've just showed you the downward trend. We have a disconnect between today's youth and the natural world. The digital creatures that are the target audience here are those Nintendo generation youths like myself who rarely get away from behind a screen and out into the natural world. Obviously, anyone can enjoy this. But my target audiences are people like me who grew up behind the TV. I do have to point out, though, that because spirituality is trending downward and those things are trending downward, that doesn't mean that we're becoming less spiritual as a society, but our connection to spirituality is maybe changing. I want to point out the idea of networking, where today's youth are connected and networked across a wide variety of people everywhere, all over the world. You can jump on Facebook and talk to someone in Germany, and creating. As a youth, I had never had an outward expression of myself, but MySpace and Facebook and Instagram, these are all creation devices where people are going in and making things for other people to see and expressing themselves. And a lot of times we become mentors just by the fact that we're connected to people. My target audience, again, are these digital creatures. The peripheral audience, anybody who wants to take a look, come on in. I'm going to quickly go through how I built this thing, just to show you what went into it. So I'll just click through pretty quick here. The root idea of the mental model that this whole thing is based on is that plants can be used as a mental model for transpersonal topics. Just as we have a root pattern of plants that break out into the various manifestations, we have a root universal truth that breaks out into its various manifestations. So, see how similar we can, that's just the way our mind operates, and it's just an easy flowing connection. Here's a picture of some of the graphics arts that I made. A lot of these are just kind of the repeated patterns taken over. It's a collage of very simple things put together. Again, I'm glad Michelle's here. I'll just expand on one, and I'm a little sorrowful that I put these words on here, and I didn't actually save the picture behind it without the words. So each story has its own picture. We have the divine source here that's just a bright, distant object that is unnameable and unknowable. And as you come down through the layers here and you get to our reality, things have more detail. So as I was building the art, I was having my own spiritual adventures here. This is what it looks like in programming, just a complicated PowerPoint. Publishing, sending it to Apple, giving it a description, keywords, and Apple approving it. So almost conclusion here. The application was actually approved 4 days ago. Yes. So on day one, there were 2 downloads, and one of them was me. On day 2, there were 4 downloads. Saturday, there were 11. Yesterday, there were 22. And it's been downloaded in 7 different countries. So I'm very hopeful for this. Final product. This is what you would see on the iPad. And I had to put you guys in there, for sure. This was my plants. This is what it looks like on the iPhone. Because of limited screen size, I had to, you press one of these buttons and it changes the text here. What it is, what it is spiritually, how you can identify this in nature. And so I just want to close with a couple things here. That this is version 1.0. It's free to download. I plan it to keep it free forever. It's open source. If any of you are endeavoring to make your own apps, feel free. Anyone out there that wants to take this and modify it and make it better, that's totally fine. I plan future updates, more plants, and an ability for users out there to submit their pictures and descriptions to me, and then I can include that for everyone to see. And maybe a final thought there. I might try some more spiritual type applications that are not necessarily related to this mental model. So, pending your questions, that's